Hello and welcome to this Q&A of Apples with me, Carey Mulligan, and Christos Nikou, the director and writer and producer of Apples. I'm thrilled to be talking to him today. Hello.
Hello, Carey.
How are you
How
doing?
are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I am great, yes. And I'm very happy that I'm talking with you.
I am too. Where are you?
I am in Athens right now.
In
And
Athens.
it's dark, even if it's 6 o'clock, and there it's still daylight, if I can see from your window.
We're 2 hours. We're 2 hours.
Yes.
We're already into the time. What's the weather like with you?
Actually, the last 2 days it's very, very cold. But the previous days, for example, we had 23 degrees here.
Oh, that's nice.
So it was pretty.
Well, I think it's my privilege really to talk to you today about the film because I managed to see it a while ago and it's one of my favorite films. I think one of my new favorite films. And I was so
Very nice.
excited to ask you questions the first time we talked, but I'm going to ask you some of those questions again for the purposes of everybody watching. Where did you get the idea for Apples from? Where did that come from?
In general, I always love to watch movies that create worlds. Worlds that are a little bit different from the ones that we live right now. I mean, that are more symbolic and allegorical and change the rules of our society. And also, it's a very personal story. As I was trying to, I had the idea when I was trying to deal with the loss of my father, but I couldn't. And I was trying to understand why people forget so easily and how selective is our memory. And if we can erase something that hurt us, and if we will erase it, are we going to lose our existence? And could it be that we are the things we don't forget? Because in a way, we are our memories. And we are the things we don't forget. And somehow all these questions were in my mind, and I tried to transfer my personal questions and thoughts about memory and loss to an ecumenical story and create this story that amnesia spreads like a virus.
So did the idea of that pandemic come to you first, which we'll talk about more in a minute, but was the idea of the sort of setting of this strange pandemic, or was you obviously came to it thinking about memory first and then imagined the rest of it? I mean, how did you kind of bring the whole storyline together?
As I said before, I love movies or even novels that create worlds. For example, like 1984 by Orwell or Blindness by Saramago, where there is also a virus that spreads in the world and people are getting blind. So for sure, this is an inspiration, but also the way that I thought about it, it was that I put myself in the position of the main character and who has to deal with something. And at the same time, how people around me forget so easily and behave a little bit like amnesiacs. And I tried to take that as a first starting point and transfer it to something on a script, I mean, in an allegorical way.
How long ago did you write it?
Not a lot. The first draft, we had it very, very, that around 3 months, something like that.
And then,
Then we were waiting for 3 years to finance it.
3 years, yeah, I was going to say.
Because from the crisis here in Greece, the Greek Film Fund was closed, so we couldn't finance it. And yes, we were waiting.
And how did you finally finance it?
We took money from the Greek Film Fund and the Polish Film Fund, but it's a very low budget film. It's made only with 250,000 euros. So yes, we did our best with what we had.
That's crazy.
It wasn't easy, but yes.
And are pandemics in general something that you'd thought a lot about in the past, or is it just that there'd been references in films and TV shows that had kind of provided that kind of framework that was interesting before?
For sure, I love when I was watching it in movies or or as I said, when I was reading it in a novel. But pandemic means also something dystopian for me, and in a way, what we are trying to depict with Applus is something that it happens in a in a dystopia, and somehow I believe that the last 10 years we were living in a dystopia, even if we haven't understood it. Right now is stronger through the pandemic, through this virus. But for sure, if you will think that right now we live behind screens all day, I'm sure that you were the last 2 months behind your computer all day. I think that we live in a dystopia and we haven't understood it. But right now it's much, much different and stronger because people also maybe will die, from this virus.
Yeah. And when you were writing, is there any person that you go to that you were running? Like, do you have people around you that read for you and that or is it something that is just your own thing and you put it down? And I mean, how do you?
No, Applus, it's something that I co-wrote with
yes, of course.
Stavros Raptis. So yes, we were working on that together from the first moment. I mean, I had the whole idea for the script, and then as he's my best friend, I asked him if he would like to write it together, and we started writing it. So it was very, very easy. And at the beginning, also we were laughing a lot. I mean, that the first draft was only comedy. And we went a little bit to the edge. And then we tried to find the right balance in order to narrate a story like that is a tragic story, but also mixed with comedic elements.
And were you writing with actors in mind? Did you have people in your head when you were writing it?
Yes, I wrote it with Aris in mind from the beginning. We wrote it, and because I worked with him in the short film that I directed before, and when we finished, I told him that I would write something for him, and he also asked me to write something for him. So we wrote exactly all the moves that he is doing in the movie. Somehow it was already written on the script. And we knew what he could do, so we wrote with him in our mind. And actually, for the next project that we are writing right now, we are writing with a person in our mind, with an actress.
Yes. And was anyone else in the cast, or was it just him that was sort of specific?
Him and the doctor.
Okay. She's
the doctor. No, he.
Oh, he.
Yes.
What meant the female? Is she not a doctor?
Yes, there are two doctors, one female and one male. But he, because he's not an actor. He's a very famous musician and singer. He has the oldest music band in Greece. He owns the oldest. Yes, and
how did he kind of want to act or want to be a part of the film?
He acted also in the past, but only he played in only from one director movies. He played in 7 movies, but only from one director, and never again in another director movie. And yes, I asked him, and he loved it, and yes, we worked together. And I love his voice.
Yeah. And did everybody else come together in a normal kind of casting way, that you met people, auditioned people?
Yes, but not a big audition. For the Amnesiac Girl and for the female doctor, we did a casting with 8-9 actresses, not more, because my co-writer is also a casting director, and also the Greek community is not so big in our industry, so it's we know all each other, so it was very easy to imagine something and find something that way.
And was it always a film that you were going to make in Greece? That was the intention at the beginning, that it was going to be set?
At the beginning, no. Actually, I wanted to shoot it in abroad. I wanted to shoot it in somewhere in a European city because I wanted to create this nameless city that we don't know where it takes place. As Athens is a very distinctive city. It's a very recognizable city. It's too Mediterranean, and it's not an easy city in order to shoot. You have a lot of limitations. So we tried, but because of that the Greek Film Center was closed and we couldn't finance the movie, it was very hard at the end to do a co-production that way. And
would it still have been Greek actors that you would have used, or would you have?
Yes.
But just the location would have been somewhere that,
Yes.
It could be in any kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. We wanted to combine different exterior shots of Athens, of other European cities, and create a new city from the beginning that doesn't exist actually. That was the idea. But we couldn't.
The whole look and feel of it is so particular because there's almost there's something austere about it, and the neurological hospital is kind of terrifying in how icy it feels. What were your, I know that you're a cinephile and you've seen every film you could possibly think of. Did you have any sort of references in your mind for when you were thinking about how the film would look and feel? I mean, was there anything? I won't know any of the references, but people watching this might.
Why? You don't know the references?
Because you know I don't watch films.
But you're watching all day films.
Huh?
You're watching all day films.
No, I'm not.
No?
I watched your film. I watched a couple of other films, but no, I don't. I'm terrible. I like watching reality television. But anyway, you tell me what, if there were, if you had any films in your mind, or if you had any,
About the look of the movie, actually, no. In general, I can tell you my influences, my inspirations that are from the past, for example, from directors like Bresson or Cassavetes or Godard or Alain Resnais. But from the recent film history, I really love the movies of Leo Carax. I think that I sent you a clip of a movie of Leo Carax. Yeah.
Just educate me.
Yes. It's also Leo Carax, Roy Andersson, the deadpan humor of Roy Andersson, Charlie Kaufman. I'm sure that you know him very well. And Spike Jonze. And in general, the movie that made me want to be a filmmaker was The Truman Show.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's one of my favorite films.
Yes?
I love The Truman Show.
We never discussed that.
Oh, Laura Linney in The Truman Show. It's just unreal.
Why, Jim Carrey is not unreal?
Oh, well, of course. It's his movie, but, she's in there being a genius as well and isn't, the lead of the film. But yeah, I love The Truman Show. And
yes, it's also a great script. I mean, that's the way of the scripts that I really love. Scripts that are somehow prophetic about the world. If you will think that it was written in 1996, and right now it's we are living in an area that we don't have that privacy at all.
Yeah.
And yes, I really love it, and I love also the ending.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Truman Show is one of those films where you hear about it and you think, oh, I want to watch that tonight now because I've just thought about it for the first time in ages. And now I want to watch it. With all of those people that you mentioned, particularly Spike Jonze, I feel like music is such a big part and movement is such a big part of all of their work. And in the film, there's an amazing dance sequence. And we've talked about dance a bit before, but where did that?
Because you love dancing in movies. I think.
Yeah, I've been tortured into dancing in films before. But that scene is so brilliant, and the feel of it is just so kind of enticing and unique. What was that? Where did the idea come for that scene, and how did it play out on the day? Just tell me about that scene.
I don't know if I have ever met a guy that have seen more, and I had a collection in the past with all the dance scenes that I have seen in movies.
A collection of them.
Yes, I love yes, I love dance scenes in general. I think that it's always my favorite scenes in movies. I don't know. One day maybe I will direct a musical, but
Yeah,
yes, but a different musical, more indie in a way, more different than the classical musicals. I love when people dance when you don't expect it and not something that you expect. And so I always had in my mind that I would love to have a dance scene in Apples. And yes, at the beginning, we didn't have a reference, but at the beginning, what I wanted is to find the right song that has this routine that the main character can dance because he remembers it, and not because it suddenly it came to his mind. So he remembers exactly all the moves, and everybody is impressed by him. And we were thinking on the script. The first idea was to use Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, and to put Aris to do the moonwalking. But the budget for the rights was more than the film.
Yeah.
So then we searched, for example, from Macarena to YMCA. What is that song?
YMCA.
Yes.
Yeah, isn't it called YMCA?
No, it's not YMCA. There is a group that it's called the Music Band.
The Village People.
The Village People, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this this song, or older songs that maybe can work. I mean, we were trying to find a routine, and then I realized that the best idea is to use "Let's Twist Again," which is a song that I love, and yes, to use something that is so retro and nostalgic in a way.
Yeah.
And the main character is also he used to work also as a dancer. So the main actor.
He used to work
as a dancer.
Oh, he was a dancer as well. Yeah. I
Yes.
mean,
so it was very easy for us to do something with him in that way.
Yeah.
But
You didn't have to force him and screaming.
Yes. But also in the next movies, I mean, for sure in the next movie, we will have a lot of dance scenes.
Dance.
Yes.
What I was so struck by was how, and what I love, and what films that I always want to be a part of, is that when you're watching the film, you just feel like nobody's acting, like nobody's really, there's no kind of acting going on. It's like you're watching people just going about their lives, and their lives just happen to be quite a bit more interesting than ours. And it's sort of captivating. There was something so sort of unnervingly natural about it, where all the performances were just exactly in the same zone, and no one felt like they were doing anything. And yet you found yourself completely overwhelmed by the end by the emotion of it, without anybody having any kind of breakdown or crying or any of the usual things that you see in films that kind of elicit that response. And nor was there any kind of emotionally manipulative soundtrack. You know, there was nothing kind of pushing you into that zone, but it was just the simplicity of it. Is that, you know, do you rehearse with actors for it to find that kind of, or is this just the cast of actors that you chose, or all those kind of, I mean, how did you calibrate everyone's performances so it feels like that?
It's always a combination. I mean, that yes, for sure, the actors that I selected were working more in cinema than theater. Because sometimes, especially in Greece, most of the actors are working in theater, and here their performances are overacting, and it's always something over and more theatrical, which is something that I'm not a big fan. I believe that less is more, and when you can perform something in a minimalistic way and you can create emotions, it's the strongest one. So the way that I worked, for example, with Aris is that I asked him to watch some movies of Jacques Tati and 2 movies with Jim Carrey, and to combine these 2 totally different approaches and create this human. But yes, express his emotions in and also, to be honest, from the moment that most of them are amnesiacs, it was much easier to follow these rules somehow, that people, they don't have to overact. But it's something that, yes, I would love also to do in the next projects if the actors would love to do that.
And how much did you work together on his kind of past? I mean, did you talk about, you know,
not at all.
Without a sort of spoiler, but I suppose people have seen the film, haven't they?
Yes, they have seen the film. So yes, no, not at all. No, I hate analysis of the characters, to be honest. I mean that it's something that I can't understand when, I think that when you are searching so many details, and when the actors want to learn all these details in order to build something, for me, it's a bit, to be honest, it's a bit, not fake exactly, but it's something that they're doing it for their own reason. But
I think it's often people trying, you know, whenever I've done it, it's always just to feel like qualified to, you know, just sort of gives you something to feel like you're qualified to be there in a way and help, you know, I don't know.
Yes, but from the other hand, what you have to follow is to get into the condition that and to the atmosphere that the director has built for you, and to just try to be natural and follow the character that you have built, because everything that is on the screen is something that you are watching on that time. I mean, that it's not something, if we will start searching about the past and all this, it will be so many questions that actually, I think that it's better to be open, because in that way it will be also open for the audience.
Yeah.
And the audience can take their own interpretation. I think that it's much more stronger in that way for me. Yeah. And I love when the actors, they don't try to build the whole character from, okay, when he was born, where he going to school, all these questions that are a little bit for me without a reason, because everyone is bringing on set what exactly he is. And then from this one, you have to take a part.
Actually drinking on set.
Sorry?
You said they're drinking on set.
Drinking.
What?
Bring. Sorry.
No. It's just, it sounded like drinking. You were like, everyone's drinking on set. And I thought, wow, that sounds like a really fun.
Yes, it will be fun. Casavetes was doing that. But
yeah.
Yes, everyone is bringing on set his own personality. And from this, you are taking a part, and you are taking also a part from the character, and you are building something new. So I prefer when we can work in that way.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think oftentimes you know, particularly when you're releasing a film, people want to know about all the extensive research you did. And it's almost sort of a little bit, I love Olivia Colman because she's always saying, oh, I don't do any research. I just sort of wing it. And I think it's, or not wing it, but, you know, she just shows up and does it, and she doesn't do all the, and I think it's sort of almost.
And she's amazing.
Yeah, and she's, you know.
It's like you. It's like you never do a research, and you're amazing in everything.
Kids, I don't have any time. I used to when I was a professional.
No, for sure. I'm sure that you didn't do any research for an education or for the first movies.
Everyone knows how to be a teenager.
I don't know. I hope that you didn't. And I'm sure that you didn't do anything for Promising Young Woman, that you gave the best performance of the year to me, by far.
Thank you. Anyway, talking of films of the year, you were at Venice in the middle of a pandemic, and in this film that you made for £250,000, euros. Yeah. In how many days?
28, but it's different in Greece because we cannot shoot. We can shoot for 8.5 hours only.
Oh wow! Okay.
So
wow.
Yes.
And then you go to Venice with your first thing, and it's massive, ridiculous hit, and you get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I checked earlier, you're still 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is nuts.
Yes.
Yeah. Usually you can start high and then a couple more reviews come out and you kind of get like nudged down a bit more, but you've stayed at 100%. So
White tomatoes and not
what?
White tomatoes. I never understood.
Oh, I don't know. Throwing them at the screen? I don't know.
Okay.
We'll find someone. What was that like? That must have been nuts. Like being there. Did you go? You were actually there in person, right?
Yes. It's where I met Cate.
Of course, yeah. So talk to me about being in Venice and in the middle of a pandemic and your film getting this massive critical acclaim, and then Cate Blanchett saw and was on the jury, I guess, right? So she saw the film.
Yes, but she was in the jury in the main competition. We were in the second competition in Orizzonti. So yes,
film kind of independent, like outside of her jury duty in a way.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, we were very lucky because actually we didn't know where to start the release of the film and where to start the festival circuit of the film, the festival career. And then we had this invitation at the beginning from Cannes, but we didn't accept the label because we didn't want to go in a virtual festival. Actually, the festival without not even virtual. And we wanted to go to a physical premiere of the film, as it is also my first feature film, and I wanted to live that experience, to watch the movie with the audience and understand what they feel somehow. And yes, it was. We were very lucky that we were in Venice, and I think that was a very brave decision from Alberto Barbera, the festival director, to do it in a physical way, because that's the way that the festivals have to happen, and we need that. We need to watch movies on a big screen. And we were also very lucky because there we met Cate. Yes, actually before the premiere of the film, I woke up in the morning and I received a message that Cate Blanchett wants to have a breakfast with you one of the next days. So
that's nuts.
Yes, so it was great. We had that meeting. We talked a lot about movies, about our life in general, and we said that okay, let's talk again soon. And then we started talking a lot, and we started having that collaboration with Apples, that she's now executive producer, and hopefully also in more projects in the future.
Amazing. And you've heard, I mean, the reception's just been incredible. What has it, presumably you're inundated with cool things to do now?
Yes. I can feel that Apples is my ticket in a way to the industry in order to be able to dream in a better way and to not think every euro, every extras that we are using on a scene, or any prop that, okay, can we bring that prop, or it's too expensive, let's so I mean that even if it doesn't look in the movie, we did a lot of compromises in order to shoot that film. So I hope that now, as I love so much cinema and that's my passion, I want to create stories and movies and narrate stories to the audience, that I will be able to narrate them in a little bit better conditions through, yes.
Well, the world is waiting. I certainly am. I can't wait to see what you do next. And it's been such a pleasure talking to you today. And thank you for your film. It's just brilliant. So thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And yes, I hope that the pandemic will stop soon and that we'll return to the theater and start watching movies again there. Even if we will not see movies, but the reality TV shows that we are watching. Yeah. It will be better to watch them in the theaters and not in the movies, in your house.
Just get me out of my house, basically.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.